Hey everyone, Cleo here, and today we are going over the results for GameNightAthon. So, I already have a meowing cat at my feet, another cat in frame, so let's just begin in absolute chaos, I guess. Normally Buffy kinda stops meowing after I talk for a while, so hopefully this will be the case now as well. But so, first of all, a big thank you to everybody who was part of GameNightAthon in any way, shape or form, even if you were just on the Discord and didn't end up participating. I had a great time with this readathon. It was my first ever and I'm very happy with the participation that I saw and with, the fun I had playing this game and letting you guys choose my prompts for it. But so, I have yet to edit my final vlog for GameNightAthon, but that will definitely also be coming, but much more interesting stuff is coming now, which is statistics and winners. But so, let me bring up the stats for you guys. But so first and foremost, the amount of players that were taking part were 42. So these are unique players because we did have 2 people who participated under multiple usernames, but I only counted them once. So we have 42 players in total taking part in this readathon. And over us 42, we read a total of 797 books. So amazing achievement, very well done, all of you guys. The total amount of pages that we read across all of those books is 233,524 pages, whereas we were only required to read 140,060 pages, meaning almost 100,000 extra pages got read throughout this readathon, so we're all just massive overachievers. Moving on to the averages. Why is that such a difficult word for me to pronounce? Moving on to the averages. On average, we read 18 books per person. We read a total of 5. We read an average of 5,307 pages each. We each, on average, achieved 63 spaces on the board and got to 94.7 points on the board. I thought it would also be interesting to kind of look at some statistics when it comes to prompts that were most often selected and prompts that were least often selected. So some of the most favorite prompts were, of course, mood read. No surprise there, mood read was on the board like 5 times, so of course it was most popular. But even if you divide it by 5, you still get to the highest average amount of choices for this prompt, so it would still have 1 even if it was only on there once. When we look at the second one, it's favorite genre. Also makes sense for you guys to be choosing that because that is of course a prompt that is easily going to be filled by you guys. Randomize, I'm very happy to see that be a popular choice because I always like a little random selection into my TBR as well, and so I'm happy to see that you guys have been enjoying that one. And that person on cover, which is of course another one of those super wide prompts that you can easily fill up with. So using that same logic, the least favorite ones might be a little bit more difficult to fill, and we do definitely see that to some extent. So in the top 3 of least chosen prompts, so these are prompts that have been chosen very rarely, we have first of all a lot of prompts that you guys chose for me. So I guess you guys wanted to make it a little bit more difficult for me, or to give me some more out there prompts, but I'm very happy that I got all of these, almost. So the most rarest are food book, so a book that made you hungry, and disability representation. So I'm very sad to see disability representation there in the lowest rung, but there were other inclusivity representation prompts, and these did get more reads, and here's just hoping that next time I do actually go about my work and give you guys a recommendations video before the readathon, which didn't end up happening this time around. Next up we have indie or self-published, so a book that was indie or self-published, which I already indicated in the announcement that I also kind of struggle with figuring out whether something is indie or self-published. So I do understand that not getting chosen as often. And then we have a four-way tie for the third rarest prompts, and that is translated, best books of 2022, continuous series, or first-person POV. Looking at the color distribution, you can see that it was very evenly matched. There's no real standout in terms of like colors that were chosen mostly. The most chosen one would be like orange, I guess, compared to the rest. Orange and like yellow are probably the highest ones, with then red being the lowest, I guess, on this visual, but it's really more or less even between all 5 of them, which also makes sense, of course, because you're trying to fill the entire board, so it's not possible to just read one color, for example. In case, even if you want to go for completing all red prompts, you still need to read other color prompts in order to unlock all of the red prompts, so it makes sense for it to be more or less evenly distributed. Now, an interesting statistic to look at is reading economy. So what does this mean? What I looked at here is the amount of pages you've read compared to the amount of spaces that you've fulfilled with those. So I kind of looked at, okay, how many pages were actually required for the amount of spaces that you filled. So how many pages did you read extra, but not just, I didn't just look at how many extra pages you read in total. I divided the extra amount of pages you read in total by the amount of books you've read. So looking at the amount of extra pages on average per book that you've read. So there are, for example, people who have a higher number of overall extra pages read, but not on average across the amount of books that they've read. So they've been more economic when it comes to their spaces. They've been able to more strategically fill out spaces compared to the amount of pages read, if that makes sense. So let's first look up the best reading economists, the people who have managed to basically not waste too many pages. I will, for small bragging rights, indicate that I would have been number 4 in these statistics, but we're only looking at the 3 best, so I don't technically get to refer to myself, but hey, just know that I was number 4. In number 3 we have Jolene from the channel Jolene Reads, who read 250 extra pages across 5 books. Then we have Olea89, who read an absolutely amazing 84 extra pages across 2 books. And then as the best economist we have Zmai, I'm not sure how we were going to pronounce that, but with 64 pages extra across 2 books. So these have the best reading economy. It just so happens that all 3 of them have a lower amount of books, but I think in spot 5, like I'm in spot 4 and I read 19 books, for example, so it doesn't necessarily equate to the fact that if you read less, you have less extra pages. This is also why I did that division with the amount of books, in order to make sure that it's not just the people who read a ton who have the worst reading economy and the people who read less have like better reading economy. It is definitely looking at the distribution amongst the amount of books you've read, so it is equal in that sense. Looking at in the other direction at the worst reading economies, I was trying to look for a better way to phrase this rather than worst, but I'm sorry, I didn't really come up with anything. But so in 3rd place there we have Annette's Bookshelf, who read 7 books, and across those 7 books read an extra of 1,426 pages. And here to prove my point, we have in 2nd place Oregon 1C, who has read 3 books, and across those 3 read an extra 639 pages, and still manages to be the person with the 2nd worst reading economy, proving my point about there not necessarily being a correlation between your reading economy and the amount of books you've read. And then in the 1st place we have Paramita M, the original Paramita, with 31 books and an extra of 8,460 pages across those 31 books. And because she read 31 books, I have to indicate that the difference with number 2 isn't even that big, even though there's a huge discrepancy between the amount of books that they've read. Moving on to completion. So here I've listed the amount of people who have completed certain things. So we're gonna start off with the board. So we have 10 unique users who have completed the board, and across all other stats on this graph, these 10 are always going to be included. So those 10 will have completed every single color. They will have completed every single dots. But so we have 10 people, as I indicated, who have completed the entire board. And when it comes to the colors, in the color red we have 2 extra people who did not complete the board but did complete the color red. We have 1 person who completed the color blue who did not complete the board, the same for the color green. Color yellow in that regard is the most popular color because 4 people additionally to the 10 who've completed the board also completed the color yellow, and just like with the color red we have 2 additional people who completed the color orange. When it comes to the dots, only the people who have completed the board have completed all dots, have crossed off all 15 dots on the board. I, for example, had 4 left at the end of the readathon, so I didn't fully manage to get all of them off of there. And then nothing remains but for us to crown the leaders. So all 3 of the leaders, or actually all 4 of the leaders, because there is a tie for the bronze position, all 4 of the readers are allowed to get an extra benefit in the next round of GameNightAthon, which is hopefully going to happen in December. You will hear about your benefit then, because the December version of GameNightAthon is very much a luck-based readathon. You will have an increased chance, and I'll explain that then because I don't want to really spoil anything yet, plus I'm not entirely sure yet I'll be able to do what I want to do with it. But so, coming in 3rd place, as I indicated, a tie. So we have 2 participants who got that same score of 199 points, which is Jill in PJs and Red Wheeler 721. So congratulations to you guys for getting this score and earning a bronze position. In 2nd place we have Paramita version 3 with a score of 201 points, and winning the entire thing with a highest score of 203 points we have Little Book Terror. So congratulations to all 4 of you, especially to Little Book Terror, which is also the 2nd version of Book Terror, for winning the readathon. I'm very happy to see people got to complete the board, first of all, because I wasn't sure whether that was going to happen, and I hope you all had an amazing fun time with this readathon, and I'm hoping that you're all back for more. But with that, I'm going to round up this video. Congratulations once again to the winners. My biggest thanks to everybody for participating. I just hope you all had an amazing month and a very fun time with it. And Faith apparently also wants to say bye. Bye!